One thing about the NBA I will never understand is how everyone expects the players to be loyal to teams, but they don't hold those same teams to those same standards. What I mean by this is that players always catch heavy amounts of criticism when they leave a team in free agency, which they are free to do, but the teams don't face nearly as much criticism when they trade a player. What's good, Josh? I got Makai, and welcome back to my channel. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. In the NBA, there's always been an unspoken rule that players should stay loyal to the franchise they were drafted by, no matter what the situation is. So when this metaphorical rule is broken, these players face heavy backlash, and I just don't think that's fair when teams don't face the same backlash for breaking this same rule. There have been many times where teams have been disloyal to players by trading them when they said they wouldn't, or trading them after the players sacrificed for that team. The first thing I think of when it comes to teams not being loyal is the situation between the Boston Celtics and Isaiah Thomas. For those of you that don't know, what happened is that the summer after Isaiah dropped 53 points the day after his sister died, played with an injured hip, and led the Boston Celtics to the Eastern Conference Finals, he was traded while he was recovering from that injury. Where was the loyalty here? This man led them to a win literally the day after a tragic death in his life, and they traded him the first chance they got, and that's just a shame. Another situation I think of is with the Toronto Raptors and DeMar DeRozan. In 2018, the Raptors traded DeMar after he made it very clear he was happy in Toronto and that he wanted to retire in Toronto, which isn't something that is said by star players when it comes to Toronto. DeRozan himself said, "I definitely was extremely hurt. I'd be lying if I told you I wasn't." So basically what happened here is that a franchise had a star player who was willing to spend his entire career with the team that he knew other stars wouldn't want to join, and traded him for just one season with a better player. If that isn't disloyalty, then I don't know what is. Before I get to the next one, I want to pause for a moment and show one of the most disrespectful things a team has ever done to a player. The Dallas Mavericks didn't even have the decency to wait till after the game to trade Harrison Barnes. They traded this man in the middle of the game like it was nothing. But when a player leaves the team overnight, it's a huge deal. Another situation I think of is the Blake Griffin and Los Angeles Clippers situation. After Lob City ended and Blake Griffin was the last piece remaining, the Clippers signed Blake to a 5-year, $171 million contract and presented him with a pitch that included a fake jersey retirement and comparing him to historical figures such as Gandhi and Barack Obama. And they promised him he'd be a Clipper for life. Then 6 short months later, they traded him to the Detroit Pistons after giving him all that money and showing him that elaborate pitch. They traded the player that they told would be a Clipper for life. Sometimes NBA teams are cheap too, like Sam Presti, the GM of the Oklahoma City Thunder, after the 2012 NBA Finals, where he traded one of his best young players, James Harden, away, because he didn't want to go over the luxury tax by $6 million. And finally, the worst case of disloyalty by an NBA team ever, the Miami Heat letting D-Wade go in the summer of 2016. Dwayne Wade is without a doubt one of the greatest Miami Heat players ever. Instead, nothing they let him walk and sign with how Pat Riley did. D-Wade may have been an aging star at that time, but he still had a lot left in the tank and deserved to be paid by Miami, and more specifically Pat Riley. But did they pay him? No. Instead, they let him walk and sign with the Chicago Bulls, which he only did because Miami made him feel unwanted, after all he did for them during his career. Loyalty in the NBA is overrated because it isn't a two-way street. People only expect players to be loyal to the teams, but the teams don't have to be loyal to the players, and to me, that's not right, and that's not fair. Alright y'all, if you stayed to the end, thank you, and let me know what you think about loyalty in the NBA in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.